Hey, it's Ryan from upfitsupply, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Vantech H1 series ladder rack versus the J series ladder rack, both from Vantech. Let's get into it. So this is a common question we get at upfitsupply: what's the difference between the H1 and the J series? They're both from Vantech, and so we've got them here on our workbench side by side so we can give you all the facts about both of them. Now, H1 is kind of like the flagship Vantech product. It's this tried and true method. It's these vertical uprights and a 2x1 inch crossbar. And the J series is a little bit more sophisticated of a product. This is an extruded aluminum crossbar. It's got channels on the bottom and the top. You know, it sits a little bit lower profile, you know, a little bit sleeker mounting feet and things like that. And so what's the big difference? Well, right away you can tell that one of the differences is just the overall height. So look how high. I've got these on the spacers that come with the kit, and they mount in the same location on the van. So apples to apples comparison here. And you can see this crossbar is almost 6.5 inches off the ground as opposed to 4 1/4. So it almost sits almost 2 inches higher. So it's a little bit higher, especially these uprights here on the side. This is actually the aluminum black model. It only comes really in aluminum in the J series, but it's also the black, both anodized black. You know, one thing I do notice is that this is more of a gloss black here on the H1 versus this crossbar doesn't look quite as glossy, but it could just be my lighting here. Now, the way that these attach to the vehicle are going to be different depending on the vehicle. You know, in the Transit Connect, which I got behind me, there's a single bolt that goes through the middle hole on the H1 rack, through the spacer, and then into the factory mounting points. In the J series, it's the same thing, a single bolt through this single hole here, through the spacer into the factory mounting point. So installation from the mounting feet standpoint is basically the same. It's going to be different. You know, on the Sprinter, you got to go into the factory tracks, and some other vehicles, you've got weld nuts or mounting locations on the van that you don't have to, you know, go through the actual roof. So it's going to be different from vehicle to vehicle, but they're going to mount basically the same because it's going to be specific to the van. Now, the big difference is once you go from the mounting feet to the crossbar. On the H1, you've got your crossbar, 2x1 inch crossbar here that goes into your mounting uprights here. And on the back here, you've got 2 self-threading screws that attaches the crossbar to the uprights. On the J series, this is what makes this unique. So on the bottom, there's a channel here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little slider bolt right here with 2 nuts that attach on here and on here, and just kind of very stealthy way of attaching the mounting feet to the crossbar. And you can see this mounting channel underneath here. Our little ladder stopper actually integrates with that mounting channel there. So it's a really unique feature of the J series crossbar. Now on the H1, our accessory, you know, this is our ladder stopper, this is our ladder stopper. This ladder stopper actually just has a hand nut, if you will, and a carriage bolt that holds this one in place. This one has, you know, the slider channel, and you've got your 2 13mm nuts on the end there. Now, the big difference there is this has a hand knob. So if you're out in the field and you're like, oh, you got a different ladder, you can just loosen this up and slide it to where you need it to go. This thing, you got to get out a wrench and move it. But you know, how often does that happen when you're out in the field and all of a sudden you magically have a different ladder that you need to put on there? You know, not very often. The J series can be purchased with and without accessories. So this is with accessories, and so you basically get this ladder stopper, you get a hook and loop strap, which is a Velcro strap that you use to secure the ladder, and you get these little end mounts too. If you get it without accessories, you don't get these, you don't get this, and you don't get the hook and loop strap. You know, one of the other differences between these two kits is just the price. And oddly enough, the J series is actually less expensive, apples to apples. You know, if you get a 2-bar, this is already aluminum with accessories. So, you know, the H1 comes with accessories. You get, if you get the 2-bar rack, you get a ladder stop, a ladder guide, and a hook and loop strap. If you get a 3-bar, you get 2 guides and 2 stoppers and 2 straps. So this comes with the accessories. This is optional, but if you get them apples to apples, you get this with accessories and you get the H1, Out of the box, 2-bar, 3-bar. J-Series is actually less money. Now, why is that? And I think the primary reason is an H1 rack can hold 250 pounds per crossbar. So if you've got a 2-bar rack, that's 500 pounds. If you got a 3-bar, that's 750 pounds. The J-Series can only hold 200 per crossbar. So on a 2-bar, that's a 400, a 3-bar, that's 600 pounds. Now, I don't know what you're putting on your roof that's 400, 600, 750 pounds, but to me, that's kind of a nominal difference, especially if you're primarily putting ladders up there. The other thing to consider about weight capacities on ladder racks is what can your van actually hold on the roof, and so you want to check on the specifications and the capacities that the roof has. So again, these two very similar in function. This one's a little bit lower profile, a little bit sleeker. Just look at these mounting feet, how small those are. These are like, if I hold this up to the 2x1, it's about 2.5 inches wide. You look at the mounting feet here, you know, I think there's like 5, let's measure that, no, 8 inches. You got an 8-inch footprint there versus a, you know, 2.5 inch there. Now, what does that mean for stability? You know, you've got a wider surface area at the bottom of the mounting feet versus this. You know, how much of a difference does it make when you've got the bolt securing it to the roof? I don't really know, but that is a difference. Now, as I hold these side by side, you can see clearly just how big of a difference between the mounting feet there is. You know, this is almost twice as wide as the J-Series. So, you know, there is that's where you're getting that extra 50 pounds of capacity on the roof, is just from those mounting feet. You know, another difference between these ladder racks is just the crossbar in general. This has a 1-inch surface area on top by 2-inch high. So that's gonna give it a lot of strength, but, you know, a limited surface area on the top. You know, on the top of the J-Series here, you know, it flattens out to be about 1 inch on the top, but look how much wider that is. It is almost 2 3/4 inch wide. I guess I could take a better measurement. 2.5 inches wide there, and maybe, just measuring this on the fly, 1 inch tall. So it's almost like you take this crossbar and you flip it this way. What's better? I don't know, I'm not an engineer like that. The other thing about the H1 is you got on this uprights, you got these 2 little eye holes that you can use for bungee cords or ratchet straps or whatever. You also have kind of tucked away underneath the upright where the crossbar meets is you got 2 more of those eye holes. On the J-Series, you don't have that unless you have these accessories. You got 2 on the side. You've got another eye mount on your ladder stopper here. But the thing I like about the J-Series is you have this track here. And you know, you could take out this rubber bar guard. Both of them have the rubber bar guard, by the way. You could take this out and get some slider accessories, whether that's lighting or, I don't know, whatever you want to mount up here, right inside that channel. So that's a nice thing that the J-Series rack has. Another thing about the H1 series is you can also get this in steel, so it's a little bit cheaper, weighs a little bit more. You know, may have corrosion and things like that, so you can get the H1 in steel if you wanted to. J-Series is only available in aluminum, you know, similar color options. You know, the H1 is steel or aluminum, 2 or 3 bar. This is just aluminum, black and white, and you may be able to get it in silver. I can't remember if they still have that option or not, but silver seems to be a color that's being discontinued at Vantech, but you can at least get it in black or white. So, which one is best? Depends what you like. You wanna go with the tried and true, you know, that extra weight capacity, go with the H1. If you want something a little bit sleeker, a little bit more, you know, kind of got the cool accessories and all that, go with the J-Series. Either way, you're gonna have a ladder rack that you're gonna love, and it's gonna work well for your trade. Now, if you're looking for either of these ladder racks or any other equipment to upfit your van so that it's work ready, be sure to check us out at upfitsupply.com. Again, my name is Ryan, and have a good one.